I did a ghostwritten column in 1988 before that playoff game against the Dodgers. We ended up losing that series. I lost game 2. I completely choked. And I detail it in the book and kind of own up to it. And I think that's the best part of the book. It's raw. It's honest. I take myself to task on some of the stuff that I went through and the mistakes I made. And that's certainly one of them. But, yeah, you're right. After that 88 season, I really felt established.
David Cohn joins us here in studio. He's got a new book out called Full Count. Was that the best team that you were on that didn't win a championship, 88 Mets?
I think so, without a doubt. That team was loaded. A lot of times, a lot of people feel that was better than the 86 team, and maybe on paper it probably was. We had Kevin McReynolds in left field who had an MVP-type year. Strawberry had an MVP-type year in right field. Gary Carter was still in his prime. Keith Hernandez was still in his prime. Dwight Gooden was still throwing the ball like Dwight Gooden did before his injuries and his addiction issues. I think that particular rotation, that starting rotation, was the most diverse and best rotation I've ever been a part of when you think about Sid Fernandez in the middle of that as well.
And Greg Jeffries had that great late-season surge as well, and you guys kind of had it all cooking, then lose to the Dodgers, the NLCS, at a time where there was only the ALCS, NLCS before the World Series. As you said, the ghost-written column, which kind of called out the Dodgers, and then you guys end up losing, and you did not have a good game that day. Is that your biggest regret in baseball, looking back and calling out the opponent at that point?
I think so. I just wish, it was off the field type stuff that's controllable. All I had to do was say, no, I don't want to do a ghostwritten column. But it also was a big learning experience for me because even though I got the byline of that article, I didn't write it. I had a conversation with Bob Klapisch, and I didn't get a chance to see the final copy before it went across the wire. So I had an out. I could have, after that game, I could have said, you know what? I blame Bob Klapisch for this, but I stood in front of my locker. I wore it. I owned it. And I came back and pitched in Game 6 after that and won Game 6 in that series. And that was the turning point. Emotionally, the young kid that kind of cowered and choked in Game 2 came back and got redemption in Game 6. And I think that learning experience there set me up for a couple of things, not only to handle adversity on the field, but how to deal with the media in New York.